Welcome back to the channel. I'm over at my friend Jason's shop. He runs a company called Pittsburgh Urban Tree. I recently bought a couple of slabs from him, so today we're gonna flatten those on his custom-made flattening jig.
You might want to move your camera, it's probably going to get bumpy.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Probably just go on the edge.
If I remember, we were saying we're just gonna...
Yeah, cut that and then match that one.
Yeah, we're close enough.
Unless you want to keep that one whole.
I don't think so.
It'll help it to cut it for sure.
There's something metallic in there.
Something that. Yeah, we should. This one, the reason that has those notches in it is these are hardened concrete nails.
So you just cut them.
We killed too many blades that day.
Stopped by last week to look at some slabs for an upcoming dining table project and ended up picking out a couple of them. And then I realized that I don't really have any way to flatten these. Jason was gracious enough to say, hey, you could just run upstairs and flatten them on our flattening jig. I wasn't about to drive them all the way home just to turn around and drive back to flatten them. So I decided to just leave them here. It was already late in the day on Friday. Now, following week, they had a little bit of downtime where I wasn't gonna be in the way if I'm here for a couple hours doing this. So Jason's gonna run me through how this thing works. And then I've got 3 slabs that I bought that we're gonna cut down to a manageable size, flatten, and then I can take them back to my shop and build some furniture. I got a Sharpie if you're looking for something to...
Yeah, well, I'm not done. 54. Here's roughly where we want to cut it.
I bought a metric tape measure this morning.
Oh yeah? You're gonna start doing everything in metric.
Well, a bunch of the like cabinetry kind of hinges and stuff are in metric. So I figured having a metric tape and a little metric ruler would probably be useful at some point.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts my American spirit to...
We're supposed to all be metric. That's what they told us in the 80s. I think we can go straight onto the flattening table.
Okay. All right, what do I need to know?
This thing's a giant teeter-totter. So
Okay.
if you look at it, you got a central screw jack. So
Right.
this thing wants to do this a little bit.
Okay.
So what this is got clamps on all 4 corners. So that keeps you from teeter-tottering as you roll the sled back and forth.
Okay.
So when you want to adjust the height, you need to bring the sled to the center. so you're above the center of the teeter-totter. Then you can open the clamps. And then it's a little hard to do, but this moves.
Okay, so the whole rail system is what's moving.
It's kind of, you know, it was kind of cobbled together, so just made it work. It's a little backwards from what most things do. I've kind of set a depth. It'll probably be, let's see. I don't think we'll be, we might want to go. You're going to hit some places and miss others. The real goal is to just not get too heavy of a cut somewhere. I think it's so sensitive right now that it's picking up.
Things to watch are, see that taped up part?
Yeah.
That's because there was some raw wires in there from that, like, see how it could hook that metal edge and scrape?
Yep.
So, kind of keep an eye on that we're not wearing back through that tape. Bad things will probably happen.
Yep.
Want to let it pull it up. Just red and green buttons.
On and off.
It takes it a second to get up to speed. You'll be able to hear it even out. I would suggest only running it this way because if you run it this way, it'll want to just potentially run away from you.
Yep.
Once you get the hang of it, you can do that.
Yeah.
Or if it's real light, like right now, if I was doing it, but it will just. Saturday is just kind of like getting used to it. Just like, or if you're cutting heavy.
Yeah.
Now that Jason showed me how to use this thing, it was time for me to jump in and give this thing a go myself. I decided to just only go in the one direction here. Like Jason said, if you're doing a climb cut going away from the camera, it very easily could run away from you and get chip out, and it could just go poorly quickly. Even though it was going to take me longer, I decided just to do it in the one direction. I didn't want to risk the project getting damaged or ruined by having massive tear out or something going terribly wrong, or worse, breaking Jason's equipment. I'm super grateful that Jason has been so helpful to me and opened his doors to letting me use his equipment and sharing his knowledge and his team's knowledge with me as I'm getting this business going. This was such a lifesaver to have this equipment. This would have taken me absolutely forever to figure out another way to do this. Here's a better look at how this mechanism works. Jason built this thing from scratch out of his own design, This isn't like a store-bought thing, so that's why he was explaining some of the nuances on how it works, because it's been an iterative process that over time this thing's been modified to improve it, and it's got some quirks. So it uses these 4 air clamps on the corners to keep the thing from being a teeter-totter, as he described it, because it'd be very easy to make a wedge shape out of your slab by not having that thing perfectly aligned. And I think at one point I did forget to move the carriage back into the center, and I might have wedged it a little bit. You'll see later when we go to sand it that it creates a little bit of an issue. And I think the coolest part of this jig is how the left and right mechanism for the sled works. It's basically just a ruler with holes in it, and then there's a nail right where my hand's at that works as a pin to register it off of. And so you go down, you make your cut, and then you move it over one hole, and then you make another cut, and that way you get nice straight lines. Not that that matters really, but from a cutting perspective, it's good to be a nice, even, healthy cutting depth, and you don't get into some weird position where you've gone too far. Some of the other jigs, there's no locking mechanism left and right, so you're just sort of out in space, and it'd be easy to drift over a little bit, and then you could burn the wood or have an issue. This is a super simple way of doing that without any kind of fancy mechanism. It's just a ruler with some holes.
Question is, when it comes to getting 2 slabs to be the exact same thickness, what's your method? I'm curious if I'm thinking the same way.
Well, a nuance that I usually do that I didn't tell you about is I always reference the handle down.
Okay.
So when I do 2 turns, it's like starts down and ends up down. That way, you're basically in kind of like 1/8 inch or just a little under increments. So then when you measure it,
You're saying 2 revolutions is an 1/8?
1 revolution is roughly an 1/8.
Okay.
2 is roughly a 1/4.
Sure. Okay.
So
I'm not sure how many I was doing. I was just kind of.
yeah, that's where I didn't explain that nuance of that.
Yeah.
So if you want to get that one the same thickness as the other one.
Yeah, I have it leaning up there. I did the one,
Yeah.
and then I decided I wanted to do this one because it's standalone.
Yeah.
And then I was going to come back, and my thought was get one side, flip it, get the other side completely there, then come down, do one more pass. If it's thinner than that one is, swap them out without touching the height.
That also works. You can just put the other one back on and don't change the setting.
And just do a single last pass on that first one.
And also you don't know which one would naturally want to be fatter than the other one. Like
Right.
one might yield out a little thicker than the
Because
other
it's a
one.
little less twisted.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's not uncommon that we have to do that anyway. But
Oh, you want this in the middle.
when you open it, because you can get it out of whack.
comes on. There it goes.
Now we can put it on the rig.
I was admiring your whale.
What?
I was admiring your whale.
You like that?
It's whaley cool.
Really cool.
That's going to be a wrap on this one. I neglected to film getting these things home. It was raining and I ended up having to go back another day to pick them up, and it just was a little chaotic, so I didn't get to film it. But I ended up picking up 3 slabs in this endeavor, the 2 ash slabs that I am laying on right now, and then there's a silver maple slab that's actually already in the works for a dining table project. So make sure you're subscribed if you want to see me turn that thing into a dining table. I'll catch you guys on the next one.